Are you curious about the hottest zip codes in Montgomery County, Maryland? Well, you've come to the right place because that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to go through the 3 hottest zip codes in Montgomery County, Maryland year to date. I'll give you some quick statistics and stick around to the end because I'll show you how you can get the most up-to-date statistics on what's happening in any zip code in Montgomery County or any zip code in America for that matter. So let's dive right in. We'll start with number 3, which is Montgomery Village. The zip code is 20886. And first, let me give you a little background on how I picked the top 3. I looked at all the zip codes in Montgomery County year to date, and I took the rates of appreciation. Then I peeled off the ones that had transactions of less than 100 total year to date. Just because small statistical samplings can skew things, you can have just a couple of houses that can knock the numbers all which way. So now what I'm going to do is go through the numbers with you, and I'll give you the things that I really focus on. So we'll start with, the basics of any market, which is supply and demand. So first we'll look at new listings. Year-to-date new listings in 20886. 469 versus 439 in 2021. So that's an increase of 6.8%. New pendings, so this is the demand side, are down by 12.4%. 361 versus 412. And last is closed sales. Now, closed sales is sort of a lagging indicator because these are transactions that at least probably happened 30 days ago. In other words, the contract was agreed to 30 days ago or even longer. But it's a number still that's worth keeping an eye on. So you can see that closed sales are down by 6%. So one of the things that I look at is the balance between these numbers. So you can see that new listings year to date are up by almost 7%, but sales are down by roughly 7%. So now let's move to the median sold price. Again, I like to focus on the year-to-date numbers. You can see that in 2021 it was $310,000. Now it's $360,000. So that's an increase of 16.1%. A couple more numbers and then we'll move on to number 2. So total active listings as of the end of July, 56. And you can see that that sort of puts it, a little on the higher side for the 5-year July average. Average days on market, 9. And year-to-date average, 10 days on the market. So less than 2 weeks on average for listings in that zip code. And finally, the average sold to original list price, 103.6% in July. And the year-to-date number is down to 102.9. So that means that on average in the entire year, listings have sold for just under 3% over the asking price. Now we'll move on to number 2, which is 20912. That's the Tacoma Park zip code. So let's go through the numbers again. So we've got new listings year to date, 135 versus 188. So that's a decrease of 28.2%. New pending, so this is the demand side, 114 versus 164. So pendings are down by 30%. And closed sales is 117 versus 156. So total is down year to date by 25%. Now, again, looking at these 3 and the balance between them, you can see that there's not a big spread. You're sort of talking about roughly 5%, which means that there's no sort of out of kilter number there. Now we'll move down to the median sold price. Year-to-date number is $655 versus $550,500 last year. So that's an increase of 19%. Just for perspective, Montgomery County as a whole, the rate of appreciation so far this year has been 6.6%. So now we'll move down to active listings. Total of 22. And you can see that that puts it sort of on the low side of the middle in terms of at the 5-year average for July. And now we'll move on to average days on market, 25 so far. Year to date, 23. And you can see how that compares to June, which was 14, and July of last year, which was 10. So average days on market have moved up. And finally, average sold to original list price, 99.9% for the month. And so far year to date, 104.3%. So that means that the average house sold for just a little over 4% more than the seller's asking price. And now, the #1 hottest zip code in Montgomery County based on year-over-year price appreciation, 21771, which is Mount Airy, Maryland. So let's run through the numbers. New listings total for the year, 300 versus 382. So down 21.5%. And new pending, so the demand side, 238 versus 319, so down 25%. And finally, closed sales, again, this is the lagging indicator, 228 versus 286, down 20.3%. Moving on to the median sold price, you've got 625 this year versus 505 last year. So the increase of 23.8%. Again, for perspective, Montgomery County as a whole up 6.6%. Now we'll move on to the bottom row. Active listings, 45 at the end of July. And you can see that that puts us right down at the bottom of the 5-year July average. Excuse me. Moving on to average days on market, 10, and year to date of 19. So just a little under 3 weeks for properties to sell on average in the zip code. And last, average sold to original list price, 100.9% for the month, and year to date, 104%. There you go, the 3 hottest zip codes in Montgomery County, Maryland, year to date. If you're interested in what's for sale in those zip codes right now, while you're watching this video, you can click on the links that you'll find in the remarks below. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if you'd like to see statistics for other zip codes in Montgomery County, or anywhere in America for that matter, you'll see a link that'll let you access that below. If you've got any questions about real estate, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is below, or you can leave a comment in the remarks. Hope you enjoyed it, found it of value. I'd love to get some feedback from you, and I'll see you on the next one.